All right, a little bit of news going on today. Alan Lazard and the New York Jets are negotiating. Could that mean we're getting a new wide receiver? And could that mean he thinks Aaron Rodgers could be on the way? This is a favorite target of the star quarterback. Let's jump into a little bit about his stats, and then I'll ask your guys' opinion in the live chat over there. I did put a comment question in the live chat. What happens to Corey Davis if Lazard is signed? And I put 3 options: cut, traded, kept. You guys can vote on that as we go through this here. Now, Alan Lazard, he is a 6'5" beast of a wide receiver, 227 pounds. He's 27 years old, freshly 27 years old. 60 receptions last year was a career high. It seems like he's getting more and more receptions each and every year, which means Aaron Rodgers is feeling more comfortable with him. 788 yards last year, 6 touchdowns. I'm all about this. I really like Alan Lazard. This was someone that we had mentioned early on in the process when you were thinking maybe the Jets could go after someone like Aaron Rodgers, and he provides a different size profile than the receivers we have on the roster right now. When you look at Garrett Wilson, he's somewhere around 6 foot, 6'1". Elijah Moore, small, 5'10" slot wide receiver. Then you have like Denzel Mims, 6'3", maybe more of a burner than Lazard would be considered. And Corey Davis seems like the piece that might be the one that doesn't quite fit. If you bring in a Lazard, I would think he's probably on the way out. As far as what we think that could cost, it looks like SpotTrack has his projected market value at $12.5 million a year. So they're predicting a 3-year, $37 million deal, which I'm totally fine with that, considering you save $10.5 million just by cutting Corey Davis anyway. We've already moved on from Braxton Berrios, so you kind of, in a sense, would have $15.5 million of like wide receiver slush fund to work with. So if you can get him, for a little bit less, maybe $10.5 million, like just swap him out entirely for Corey Davis, I think that is really, really cool. Over the Cap has his valuation similarly. They had him, adjusted for injury at $12 million, and then with injury was like $10 million. So you could see, based on how he performed, that's about where he ranked each week in terms of the value he provided on the field. This would be a good move. I'm all about this. This is something that I think indicates that Aaron Rodgers is probably I don't want to say it's a done deal, because as soon as I say it's a done deal, something squirrely is going to happen. But I really think Aaron Rodgers is a done deal, and I think Lazard probably knows that. You can't tell me these guys are not talking behind the scenes right now. So I'm a big fan of this. I see some guys in the chat right now. Glad to have you here. Let's see. Dakota. Let's move this down here. Dakota says, Lazard is coming to the Jets to be a role player. Smart move, not a stud. Yeah, well, he'd be a role player, but he's still a stud. I mean, 6 touchdowns, 6'5", that's a big-bodied wide receiver. And I project that he could probably get even better than having played with an injured Aaron Rodgers. So I have no problem with this move. But I like the idea as a role player, because then it kind of, they all fit into that role. Like I was saying, like he provides something that we don't currently have. 6'5" wide receiver, that's a red zone target. We had a ton of issues in the red zone. So I'm a big fan of this move. Ryan S. Lizard King. Love that. Let's see what else you guys talking about in here. Logan says, Alan Lazard was born 20 minutes from me. Iowa boys. Very cool. Joseph says, Lazard, Rodgers is 100% coming. We're all hoping so, dude. I feel like it's got to be a lock. Trey Yoder says, his biggest plus would be blocking. Yes, this is absolutely massive. A wide receiver that's really good at blocking in an offense that you expect to play ball control and cater to like Bam Knight, Breece Hall, Michael Carter. This is a big move. Team player. I feel like that's massive. That's one of the big things Corey Davis is really good at. Corey Davis is really good at blocking. So if you wind up losing him, to at least replace him with a bigger bodied wide receiver that has the connection with Rodgers already and can also block, is really good. I'm a fan of this move if it winds up happening here. Keith drops in. Keith says, Ryan, GM, did you get some rest? Dude, oh, good morning. Yeah, I did get a little bit of rest. I'm definitely, I can feel I'm coming down with whatever Becca and Shay have. That's, I'm a little shot. But yeah, we'll keep going. We'll probably we were talking about doing the McAfee stream at 12, so I guess we'll probably do that too. NY Jets superfan. The free agents aren't making big money this year. I see cheaper deals than we think, but it does overpay for. But I'd overpay for players. Yeah, I don't want to overpay for players because you don't want to get in a habit of having like bad contracts, but it definitely doesn't seem like we saw the crazy explosion of wide receiver money like last year. Last year we saw, was it Christian Kirk? No, it wasn't Christian Kirk, was it? Who was the receiver that signed with, yeah, I think it was Kirk, signed like a big deal with the Jaguars, and we're like, holy smokes, look at that contract. And then you see Devontae Adams get traded, and his like all the money he's getting paid. It's a whole lot. This year you saw Jacoby Myers. What did he just get? Like $12 million a year, and him and Lazard are probably like wide receiver 1 and 2, I would think. Aside from the receivers that could be out on the open market. Now maybe Odell Beckham. I don't think he's going to get a crazy ton just because of the injury history. But yeah, it doesn't seem like the wide receiver market is quite as robust as it's been in the past. And this is a weaker wide receiver draft as well, in my opinion. So you would have thought the free agent ones might have a little bit more value, but maybe they just kind of see everyone as like a wash at this point. Robert says, can you explain the March 17th rumor if you're aware of it? Something about guaranteed money between then and week 1. So yeah, Aaron Rodgers, what Robert is referring to here is Aaron Rodgers has a clause in his contract that he has a $58 million bonus. That's the bonus we've all been talking about that's going to have to be paid, but it has to be paid between March 17th and week 1 of the NFL season. Now, there was a rumor going around on social media that the Jets would have to clear like that $58 million of salary cap space in order for that trade to be facilitated, or the Jets would have to wait till after that point and then exercise the option and then bring him in for the $15 million that we've discussed here on the channel. That's not accurate at all. I understand the confusion, but the NFL actually, for cap purposes, assumes that option is already exercised because then you're losing $60 million from other players to be able to be signed. So it's in the NFLPA's best interest to assume that option is accepted. And then if it's declined, that's when the $60 million shoots up and hits your cap for this year. So it's a little confusing because the nature of the contract, but by and large, the Jets could trade for Aaron Rodgers and not make it official till then anyway, even if it was an issue. But the NFL assumes that option is already exercised for the benefit of other players on the team. Let's see. Philip says, any chance of Adams coming over? I don't think so. I would be very surprised if the Raiders wanted to move on from him after just one season. I mean, if there's some situation where Devontae Adams is like, I want out of Vegas, I don't know. I mean, you'd have to give up 13. There's no way you're keeping 13 at that point. And I don't particularly want to do that. I would rather have the offensive lineman than Devontae Adams. Like for me, Garrett Wilson can be the new Devontae Adams. Or, the hope, I guess, is that. And then if you have enough players that are, if you wind up bringing in a Cobb, if you wind up bringing in a Lazard, at least you have, some guys that are familiar with Aaron Rodgers. I still hope we kind of go after Thielen, but I don't know how you kind of fit all these guys in a wide receiver room. Logan says, Jets should try to get Stefon Diggs. Imagine. Yeah, I don't think a division rival is going to trade a legit weapon to their biggest threat or one of their biggest threats in the division. I don't see that happening. Kev Lowe says, we heard so many rumors and we heard deal done. We heard Rodgers had meeting. We heard going to announce on show. We heard he's looking for free agents. Yeah, hey, we'll hear about Aaron Rodgers soon. He's going to do it on his terms. I think he's pissed off at Rappaport and Schefter, and I think he's going to let them kind of twist and turn and feel uneasy about not having the scoop. I think that's how it's all going to shake out, and I think it's pretty funny, honestly. Michael drops in, says, Ryan, hope you got some rest. What does it mean for Thielen? Is he also coming? That's what I'm not so sure about, right? Like, is this is this Alan Lazard potential signing going to be enough to? Is that enough to push away like the thought of Adam Thielen? Does Rodgers want to play with Lazard? Does he want to play with Thielen? Does he want to play with Cobb? Because now all of a sudden you're like, if Thielen's going to be in the slot for some capacity, now you have Elijah Moore, Thielen, and possibly Cobb. I would hope it would be Thielen and Lazard personally. I don't as much as I want to make Rodgers feel comfortable. Cobb is the one piece that I'm not like super thrilled about getting because he's pretty old. I mean, Thielen is too, but at least Thielen, I don't know. I like Thielen a little more than Cobb. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know where they could go with this. I mean, maybe there's the outside shot that like Elijah Moore has moved. I saw some rumors that the Browns might be interested in Elijah Moore, which I guess if you could get a second-round pick and you want to bring in people that Rodgers feels more comfortable with right now, I get the feeling the Jets probably are not going to be able to do Thielen and Lazard. That feels like, at least right now, it feels like that might not be able to be, I don't know. I don't know how it would work, I guess. Donald says, okay, so we're still looking at Odell Beckham. Can we trade for Carr? You are all about that Derek Carr stuff. No, Carr's not happening. I don't want Odell Beckham either. I think Odell Beckham is a powder keg when put next to Elijah Moore. I'm not super thrilled with that. Pillity Poo says Elijah Moore is getting traded. Yeah, I think that could definitely happen. I haven't seen anything pop up other than like the Browns, but man, that would be wouldn't that be pretty funny that Elijah Moore does the dog piss thing in college in the old piss game and then winds up going to the Cleveland Browns. Whole bunch of bathroom metaphors there for Mr. Elijah Moore. I would like to hold on to Elijah Moore, personally. I think there's a lot of hope for where he could be, but I think if he wound up souring everyone else on his antics this past year with LaFleur, it would not shock me if the Jets were, one, not really looking at wanting to extend him beyond his rookie deal, or two, looking to move off of him because Rodgers is not going to put up with his shit at all. So you got to be all bought in or not. Rich L! Becoming a member of the channel. Yes. Thank you, dude. Much appreciated. Philip Allen drops in, celebrating 4 months of membership. Says, if Mims is a Jet this year, what is your expectation? I mean, I think he's just a role player. I think it would be, clearing out the underneath routes, like just send him on posts, send him on flags, just absolutely send him screaming down the field. That's where I feel like he's at his best. Let him get some jump ball situations. I could see a situation where Mims is moved on from with a Lazard signing because they're both like similar size, but I think Mims is a lot faster than Lazard, so they do provide different attributes. But yeah, it seems like the Jets are a little bullish on Mims from what I've heard, which is really exciting. Mims to me, along with Elijah Moore, Tomlinson, and obviously Zach, are could be the biggest benefactors from switching offensive schemes because we saw how they weren't really utilized or weren't able to click the way you were hoping they would click based on their athletic performances in like college and stuff and in previous seasons. So I'm hoping Mims, can show a little bit more now that Hackett's here. Maybe we get just a little bit different. Noah says, do you think Jets should re-sign Quan Alexander, Sheldon Rankin, CJ Mosley? As a Saints fan, I hope Sheldon Rankins returns, LOL. Yeah, so I really want Sheldon Rankins back. Of all those, I think Mosley's already under contract. I don't think the Jets are going to cut him. If I were them, I would restructure CJ Mosley. I would go to him and say, hey, look, let's make you retire a Jet. Let's go for a ring. We can't keep you at 21.5. That's if he wants to keep the 21.5, cap hit and not going to, restructure, which I don't think would happen. He restructured last year. Then I think you would have to move off of CJ. But I think his leadership is just so valuable. I would not want to lose him. Sheldon Rankins, I really like for the New York Jets as far as run-stuffing defensive tackle. If he winds up leaving, with the way the defensive tackle market has been, I'm cool with drafting one at some point. And Quan Alexander, I really like him a lot. He's the linebacker I was hoping we'd, maybe bring back, but I feel like he's probably going to go to Houston and play with D'Amico Ryans over there, get himself a little bit more money than what I think the Jets are probably looking to pay. AP14 says, day 74. It's actually pretty funny seeing how out of the loop Rappaport and Schefter are and the Jets beat are. Yeah, when you talk to or when you see these guys on TV and you see Rappaport and Schefter kind of squirming, like this is the biggest news of the season with the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. And Aaron Rodgers going on McAfee saying like, Rappaport and Schefter, they're great at their job. They don't have any inside sources for me. He's absolutely sticking it to him. I am like fully on board this. I think it's pretty funny, and I hope he gets to release the information the way he wants to. Now, you got to think that, wherever the news comes from, like he'll know. It's almost like the Littlefinger trick in Game of Thrones where they're, or I guess not Littlefinger, it would be Tyrion trick in Game of Thrones where you tell a little bit of information to the 3 people you think are moles, and based on which rumors get out, you know where your mole is. That's kind of how I look at this whole situation. But yeah, I like the whole, making him squirm. Lewis, how do you become a member? There is a link below this video in the description, or no, it might be in the description, that says for memberships. Or you could click the little blue join button on my homepage or below the video. It'll give you a few options. I think I had it in the chat last time. If you guys want, I could throw it back in there. Schefter recreated the Windhorst meme, something's cooking. I hope we get him. Come on! Let's see what happens. Eddie O said, with Barrios gone, who do you think will return punts or kicks for us? I would expect that to be Bam Knight, but if Breece Hall has any sort of limitations for the beginning part of the season, and we're going to have to lean more on Bam Knight and Michael Carter, I would try to draft someone or bring someone in. I mean, I guess you could put Cobb back there if you wanted to bring him in, because I don't want to say you don't care about his body, but you care more about Bam being able to be healthy until Breece comes back than you do about whoever's kicking, like returning kicks. Jets carpetbagger. Ryan, your Jets content animal. How have you slept at all the last couple of days? No, I have not. Shay's been sick, so it's not been a lot of sleeping. Last night I got a little more sleep, but now I'm feeling under the weather. Ricky, welcome aboard. Glad to have you here. Let's see. Oscar says, we watching McAfee together today. Yeah, I'm all about it. I'm going to do this live for a half hour, and then I'll work on the thumbnail. We'll get the other stuff ready for the McAfee show. I don't know if Rodgers is going to be on McAfee at all, or if there's any news, but it seems like it's been, if there's one way I could see Rodgers breaking news, it would be his own way on McAfee, as opposed to letting Rappaport or Schefter do it. But again, I don't think he's scheduled to be on there at all. Kevin says, did your heart skip a beat when you saw Aaron tweet last night? Yeah, it did. I was like, oh, what does that mean? What's going on? I want him to start liking like Jets things. That would make me feel good. I'm not going to count my chickens until they hatch. I feel like he's coming, but I'm still concerned. NY Sports says, put it in the chat. All right, let me put that in the chat. It's not in my description. That's fine. All right, I'll put in the chat for the McAfee stream. I'm not going to try and look for it right now. Jordan says, Lazard does not excite me that much. If we get him for $10 million or under a year, I'm okay with that, but don't want to put too much of the cap on him. Yeah, I kind of feel where you're coming from that. And according to Spot Track, they have him estimated about $12.5 million. So if you're getting 10.5 from Corey Davis being cut and you already have 5 from Barrios being cut, this to me, if you get him and Cobb for the same $15 million, I'm kind of okay with it. Quan Lu becomes a member of the channel. Thank you, dude. Thank you. Much appreciated. Yeah, look, I'm fine with Lazard at that number. Chris Romaine. Chris Romaine joins the channel as well. Hold on. Once that little thing pops up, I'll do the Jets. Come on. Where is it? There it is. Thank you so much for joining the channel, boys and girls. Drop some JETS in the chat for our newest members, Chris and Kwong. Much appreciated, boys and girls. John says, rumor has it Joe Douglas doesn't let single thing out of our organization. Yeah, I love how tight-lipped Joe Douglas has been since he's gotten here, and I think that does not get lost on Aaron Rodgers. I think there's almost like hey, I'm going to tell you this. You better not say anything, or I'm going to think differently. Maybe I'm going to retire if you start spilling the beans. I want to know that I can trust the guys that I'm coming to play with. Love it. NYC Superfan says, what do you think of signing Calais Campbell to replace Sheldon Rankins and get even more leadership in the locker room? That would be awesome. I would have to imagine he's going to be a lot of money, though. Let me just pull it up real quick. I don't know how he played last year. So they won't give me a valuation on him. So for the last few years for the Ravens, his base salary was $5.2 and $1 million. He did receive a $20-ish million signing bonus when he signed there. So that initial first year was $25 million. But then it was 2 and 1 the next 2 years. Yeah, if you can get him for not a whole lot of money, I'm on board with that. I like Calais Campbell. He's got to be pretty old though. How old is he? He was drafted in what, 2008? So that's 14 years in the league. He's got to be like 38 now, right? 36? 86. What is 86? 1986 is 36 years old. That would be interesting. I like Rankins personally, but whoops. Sorry about that. Let me shrink that back down. This is what happens when I'm clicking around on stuff. All right. Bring that back down here. Vinny Caruso joins the channel. Vinny! Thank you, dude. Much appreciated. And Jeff O'Reilly, thank you for subscribing. All right, who else we got in here? What are you guys talking about? Southern Jet says Lazard is younger than Davis and played 15 games last year. Yeah, it's nice having guys that are going to be reliable on the field and healthy and available. That's my biggest thing with a lot of the free agents that we're looking to bring in. Like Odell, to me, while he's super exciting from like a dynamic perspective and it would put a ton of stress on a defense, I don't want to have him here for just 7 games a year. Like that's like a waste of resources for me. So I prefer the healthy guys. Mike Haas says, good morning, Ryan. It's going to be a wonderful day today. We'll finally get some news. Instead of re-signing Rankins, what about see, you guys are on the Calais Campbell train. Hey, I'm all about adding veteran leadership. And it would be cool if like Calais Campbell comes in and starts talking to like Quinnen Williams and like, hey, this is how you last in this league a long time. You're going to get paid your monster contract. Don't hang him over a barrel for $25 million. Let's just take the 22.6 or whatever it's going to be. I love adding veteran leadership to our locker room. Like I'm a big fan of bringing in like a Lazard or a Cobb or a Thielen to the wide receiver room. I love the idea of adding a vet, secondary piece in some capacity at like safety. I love having that in like each of the position groups. I think that's important to have. Sean, what's up, dude? Thanks for subscribing. Jacob Webb. Thank you so much for super chat. Very much appreciated. Ryan, I think I'm becoming part Jets fan after watching all these streams, and I'm a Chiefs fan. Keep up the work. Love it. JETS. Jets. That's awesome. How are you feeling about your Chiefs as well? I mean, hey, I'm all about getting extra fans on the Jet bandwagon. It's been way too long since we had some bandwagoners, and hopefully we can push you in that direction. Maybe we won't, be battling you in the AFC Championship game, and you get a chance to root for us. We'll see. I'm feeling very confident. It's starting to scare me that I don't know. I'm scared. I like your Chiefs. I love watching Mahomes, dude. He's so much fun to watch. I'm jealous. Jets should have drafted him instead of Jamal Adams. We screwed the pooch. Carmelo says, I want to get Hopkins. It'd be cool. You got to trade for Hopkins, though. I'm not too keen on the idea of giving up picks if we don't have to. Richard says, you see the Garofalo thing on NFL Network. I did not. What's the Garofalo thing? D-Hop is in New England. Is that true? Is that what you guys are talking about? You guys are screwing me up here. I have no idea what's going on. Give me some help. Check Twitter. All right, I'm checking Twitter. What's going on Twitter? Mike Garofalo on NFL Network. There has been communication with the Jets and the Packers. I can say that confidently per sources. I'm told the Jets would have to work out that $60 million, which they hadn't previously budgeted. I don't see that being the case. I mean, maybe that is the timeline. They're like, hey, the 17th. But as far as I know, the NFL assumes that contract is, or that option is accepted, so that way other players can sign. So I don't know if that's actually overly accurate. Although I guess it should be. I trust those guys more than I trust, what I assume is the correct answer. I shouldn't say I assume, but I've talked to a few people. Moose City says, today is the day. Lazard seems like a super solid pickup. I think Campbell would be a great grab. He's still a beast, 5.5 sacks and 2 forced fumbles last year. Yeah, the leadership side of things, and I think him wanting to win a ring is also super exciting. Like, I'm all on board getting vets for cheaper. That's what happens when you get an Aaron Rodgers and you have a desirable location. This is how you start to change the culture. And if Joe Douglas can continue to draft well and continue to bring in those captains from their college teams, I love where this team's headed. I really do. Vinny says, I got on the Chiefs train when they drafted Mahomes, and it's been nice to have a winning team while the Jets are getting ready to compete. Now's our time. Yeah, I guess when the Jets stink, I'm still always, rooting for the Jets, but I start looking at like other teams. I'm like, all right, who do I, enjoy watching? Mahomes is definitely, an easy one to pick for sure. I don't think the Jets are going to pick up Devontae Adams. I don't think we're going to trade for him. You'd have to give up 13. Cinelab says, Rodgers will 100% want Lazard because he's a veteran, will help with the other receivers picking up signals and calls. Aaron does a lot of nonverbal stuff. Yeah, I really like this. I like the, just a little head nod or a little tap on the helmet or like, he sees exactly what Rodgers is seeing. He's like, I know I'm cutting in or I know I'm, screaming over the top. Back shoulder throw? Yeah, you got it. I like that stuff. Kevin Lowe says, where are we getting our source from? Tweets or the horse's mouth? Are you talking about the Aaron Rodgers stuff? That came from Garofalo. If Wingo lied to us, Jet Nation will unite against him. Yeah, you're going to have a shit ton of pissed off fans if the Rodgers stuff doesn't happen at this point. Noah says, do you think Amos will come as well? I would like to believe so, but it kind of depends on how Douglas has evaluated him after drafting him, because Douglas was the one that picked him up from Chicago. I haven't heard the Jets link to him at all. I thought Jimmy Ward was going to be more of a likely situation. Now I'm not super sure. I could see the Jets passing on safety, keeping Whitehead, and then looking towards the draft and spending a pretty good pick on one. So we'll see. Scott Lee says, Rankins was a beast this year and healthy. He deserves a contract. Yeah, I agree. If he wants to go out and sign somewhere else, that's totally fine. I think the Jets should say, hey, look, we're on the like Super Bowl train. So you guys got to buy in. If you want to buy in, you're here. If not, more power to you. Go get your contract. No issues, no harm, no foul. But like, this is what we got to do to try and win. And I think I could see Rankins coming back for that. But I think Calais Campbell will definitely be a lot cheaper. I think if you could get Calais Campbell for like $3-4 million as opposed to like $8 million for Rankins, yeah, that's a home run. F1 Josh, yo Ryan, UK Jets fan here. Love the content, brother. Thanks for everything you do. Thank you. Much appreciated. What time is it by you guys? It's what, a 6-hour delay? So you guys, or 6-hour difference? You guys are like dinner time over there. Love it. Mutt Viles, day 735 after the 5th darkness retreat. The Jets get Lazard, and how Rodgers still isn't in the Jet yet as we still wait for his seaweed bath and moonlight retreat for Rodgers' decision. Hey, I love a little self-love or self-treatment or whatever. I'll go, Rodgers, you buying a spa package? Psh, love me a good massage. I'll go unwind. We are exhausted by him, and he hasn't even signed. Wait till we get to a bye week. About Rodgers, dude, once Rodgers gets here, I don't care if he has to debate retirement every single year. Totally fine with that. Jet Boyer, did we already talk about Mike Florio's comments this morning? No, what happened? I didn't see that. Guys, if you know what Mike Florio said, let me know. I saw Garofalo's comments. Florio said Rodgers plans to accept trade to the Jets. I don't know if it's weird. Like, I want to see trade compensation. I want to keep hearing this plans to, get traded or plans to accept trade, because I mean, while it's nice to hear all that, there's been no leaks out of the Aaron Rodgers camp. So I feel like more of this is just, piggybacking on the Trey Wingo comment from yesterday. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Ryan, did you hear about a potential second massive trade the Jets are making besides Rodgers? I did not, but I did hear that the Browns may be interested in Elijah Moore. That's about as much as I've heard on the trade front. I could see Corey Davis getting sent over in the trade for Aaron Rodgers. I think it kind of fluffs up the trade value for like on the Jet side of things, at least from an optics standpoint. So I mean, maybe that's part of the major trade, but I haven't heard anything else. Hector says, Ryan, I'm going to take you to court for putting me through this every day and no Rodgers yet. Dude, I can't wait for it to sign. I'm pulling my hair out over here. Ryan, what other free agents you think Joe Douglas is going to be looking at? I think they're just going to cater to like retaining their own and bringing guys that Rodgers wants. This offseason for me has always been about retaining our own guys and then maybe adding a wide receiver in some capacity. And then now that like once we figured out, okay, we were going to need a new quarterback, then it was like, all right, the appeal of the New York Jets is, hey, we have $15.5 million, the space that was gained by cutting Braxton Berrios and will be gained by Corey Davis either being traded or cut. That's one of the biggest draws. You get to get the quarterback and they pick their wide receiver. They get some influence into the decision-making process. And I think that's important. So for me, Calais Campbell, defensive lineman, coming from Baltimore, I could absolutely see a situation where Joe Douglas can attract him here. I want that. That would be nice. Ooh, Chrome says, I have a friend whose brother works on the set of Pat McAfee and says Aaron is coming today. Ooh. That makes me excited. You could be lying to me, but that's okay. It makes me excited. I'm going to buy it. Cheddarhead, thanks for the super chat. Says, Jet fans need to learn one thing about Aaron Rodgers. Relax. Yeah, relax. Calm down. That was that was the comment he made early in the season, 2019? Was that it, when they started off slow and then he went on a tear? Where is that? I just saw that. Ian's asking, you going to watch Pat McAfee? Yeah, I'm going to hop off this I guess I should hop off this. Let's give it another 2 minutes. We'll go to 35 minutes total on this, and then I'll hop off. I'll create a new stream for the Pat McAfee stuff for those of you guys that want to tune into that. Let's recap a little bit from where we're at with Allen Lazard. So his statistics over the last year, he's 6'5", 227 pounds, 27 years old, 60 receptions. That's a career high from this past year, 788 yards and 6 touchdowns. He does appear to have a bigger connection with Aaron Rodgers as each year progresses. So I think you could get even more than what this is out of Allen Lazard, although with all the weapons we have, you may be expecting around that number. I think you could get more, production-wise, but I don't think you necessarily have to. If you can get 600 yards to 800 yards from Allen Lazard and he's providing the same-ish contract value as a Corey Davis, I'm all about it. Spot Track has his perceived market value as $12.5 million. Corey Davis would save you $10.5 if you cut or trade him. They're thinking that Lazard could get a 3-year, $37 million contract. That's fine. I'm cool with that. I think Jacoby Myers just signed for $11 million, and I thought Lazard and him were the two best receivers on the market. So I would hope maybe there's a little bit of a side. I hope there's a little bit of a cap savings because he wants to play with Rodgers. I hope that kind of happens. The other side of things is Rodgers may not make his decision hey, I want my boy Lazard to get paid because, let him get paid, let him get his, and then I'll decide I'm coming there. So it may not even be for less money, but hopefully it is. Over the cap had his valuation right around the same. He missed, I think it was 2 games this past year. But by and large, you could see how each week he progressed based on his statistics and the amount of money that would have, compared to with other wide receivers. So yeah, $12.5 million, $10 million. I think it's going to be like, hey, look, we'll swap you for the Corey Davis. You want to do $10.5 million? Let's go win a goddamn ring. And we'll do that. All right. So I'm gonna hop off here. I'm gonna make a thumbnail for the Pat McAfee show. We'll all sit and watch that. That's gonna be on at 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock. You can watch it on YouTube. So I'm gonna have it on my computer right here, and we'll just talk and answer questions and all that good stuff. Guys, let me know what your thoughts of Aaron Rodgers down below in the comment section are, or Aaron Rodgers or Alan Lazard. Words are hard. Let me know in the comment section down below. I'll see you guys in a few minutes.
I think every single person in this locker room is a competitor at the highest level. So, yeah, when you feel as if your backs are against the wall, you never have to feel like you got to do it by yourself.
Unbelievable throw. Under pressure. Sacked by Quentin Williams. Right sideline, Usaba's got it.
You look to your left and your right, you got guys out there with you that our whole point is to help each other.
This one to Mims. That's Corey Davis climbing the ladder.
To be able to go out and lead these guys, just to know how hard these guys work and how important it is to them, and then you get that chance to lead them. Everything that happened that needed to happen for us, it almost felt like kind of like a sign, like get like a second chance almost.
Gets extra pushes, running left.
Maybe a little extra life to breathe into the locker room.
Touchdown, Jets.